All right, everyone, it's your boy Ernest Dove. Might as well go ahead and make a rapid reaction video for the Mets Rule 5 draft that's now concluded. I wanted to basically go over all the guys or some of the guys that they lost, not necessarily doing my usual prospect hugging, but obviously you probably know that's coming. But you know what? Let me just spend a few minutes, if I can, if it's helpful, try to give some information on what the Mets might have lost, maybe what their thinking is. Might as well start with the left-hander Nate Lavender. In my opinion, for the last couple of years, he's had all the makings and the look of a left-handed major league reliever. He's not a flamethrower, so he's going to be more of the crafty guys who knows how to get strikeouts. He can maintain a pretty good K rate. Obviously, it's all about the injuries. So maybe on some level, what do you want to do here? It kind of sounds like from the initial information being put out, there's probably a chance the Rays can just literally do nothing and just hide him for the entire season and then maybe figure out in 2026 how to keep him on the roster throughout the whole year under those Rule 5 rules. But it's pretty interesting. Not necessarily super angry or extra dove frustrated about losing him. I do, again, think he's going to be a major league reliever. If there was a version of a ceiling, maybe put him at least a guy who could be back end ish, like maybe seventh inning, even maybe a little bit higher, depending on situations and scenarios and a game action for a ceiling. So I still like him a lot. But, you know, sometimes you got to give to get in trades. And even in Rule 5, I could try to get into some of the other arms that are pretty successful. Even a Louis R. Rodriguez, who was technically available in Rule 5, but he was extra young, also been injured for over a year plus. So could he even be a flame throwing version of a lefty arm to come up the system, hopefully, when he's healthy? You know, different guys, different situations, different replacement type arms or prospects to think about in the Mets system. Obviously, got to talk about Mike Vasil. You guys know that I love him, especially since I interviewed the man. So I was just curious. I know in 2023, he entered the ninth inning of a no hitter in AAA. Everything was looking good. I was actually thinking they purposely didn't call him up in that last lost season at the end, possibly because they just wanted to not have to utilize the Rule 5 or the protection yet. And then all of a sudden, here we are for the 2024 season. The K rate absolutely plummeted for Mike Vasil. His walk rate went a little bit up, technically a career high walk rate as well last year. But again, even with ABS system, that was going to be a hard situation for all the pitchers. But my biggest concern was the drop in the K rate, not really explained. I was even trying to think or wondering if maybe there were some health issues or injury stuff, but he pitched over 130 innings. And again, he was technically repeating the level. So it's very curious to see then what the Phillies might try to do. If it was up to me with a lot of these Rule 5 guys anyway, coming off the season that he had, he did eat the innings, but perhaps this is the kind of guy maybe you try to bury in your bullpen. Maybe I can make some jokes about the Phillies bullpen for these last recent years. So maybe they can have a bit of a step up and maybe even some velocity can get a little bit higher and maybe he can get his K rate back up as a 1 or 2 inning arm. Maybe that would be the plan for them because it'd be interesting to try to have him be in their rotation. So kind of curious if that's where they're going to go with Mike Vasil. The other guy I wanted to bring up now for the minor league portion of the Rule 5 draft, which there's so many rules in baseball. So I guess it's basically the Mets were having certain guys that they weren't going to put on the AAA roster. And it looks like other teams just started grabbing all kind of guys that the Mets didn't want to put on that roster. So I guess maybe shout out to the Mets farm system and player development for losing up to 9 guys total in the minor leagues, including 7 in the minor league-ish phase of it. So, but I wanted to basically talk about 2 players from this. One has been a younger guy, but now it's been a few years. I wanted to talk about Junior Tillien. He's a guy that I loved a couple of years ago in St. Lucie. I kind of saw him as a bat first guy. Not sure if maybe even second base would be the best spot for him. Maybe like a Dilson Herrera for all you Dilson Herrera fans out there from like years past. Maybe he was like Dilson 2.0. It was my thing that I was thinking about. On a different tier, because I love me some Jesus Baez, the exit velo king of the Mets. On a lower level tier of a guy who barrels up, makes a lot of hard contact when he makes contact, Junior Tillman was that guy. Now, I don't know if some of the injuries have played a part. I know there was like multiple short stints on the IL for him in 2023. I don't really recall a lot of injury stints for him in 2024, but not sure, obviously, how 100% healthy he's been, although maybe it's just me making excuses. But again, I still like Junior Tillman. So I'm pretty curious to see what they can work on with him, even beyond being 100% healthy. Maybe even figure out what position his new team and organization wants to put him at defensively. But I do still like him. Again, as far as losing a guy like that, I could probably run off multiple names in my head of current Mets prospects who are going to have to play those positions at the AA, AAA level. So there might not have been room for him regardless. So they're definitely going in a different direction. So obviously, good luck to him. The other guy I wanted to talk about to end my quick little video here is one of my favorites for like at least 2+ years, Joelme Ramirez. He's been my guy. I love him. I saw him as a 95 to 96-ish mile per hour arm. They've been having him in rotations, but then even in last year, it looked like he was piggybacking other starters, and he was kind of going 2, 3, 4 innings. It seemed like the velocity wasn't always consistently ticking up high enough for my liking and my taste last year. I tried asking around with coaches, and I feel like what could be implied, the consensus that I was hearing, maybe they might agree with me, the prospect hugger. Joelme Ramirez may be the type of guy that you want to move as only a 1-inning reliever, maybe 1 to 2 innings max. I'm not really sure. It's only my opinion, projection-wise, even ceiling-wise. I'm not sure starter can be his route going up to the final levels and to try to reach the major leagues. In my opinion, Joelme Ramirez can be a adequate, serviceable pen arm. But again, I like the idea of him only pitching 1 or 2 innings. I'm kind of wondering if the next organization can get him to 96, 97 plus miles an hour, firing on all cylinders during that 1 or 2 inning. Because I could see him consistently be 94, 95 as a starter, but let's get it higher up, and they may have something here. That's basically my quick kind of rapid response. Thankfully for me, there's no crying. I didn't want to be too sad losing my minor leaguers here. And again, I wanted to talk about, I've been the last few weeks this offseason, some of the sources that I have that are left, because so many guys have been let go or changing organizations. But some of the people that are still left that I talked to in the Mets organization, I've been discussing with them my own personal thoughts. Take it for what it is. They do kind of agree that we're getting to a point now where there's a lot of Mets prospects that are similar-ish, either in their projections, ceilings, their actual position they play defensively, and in the pitching situation. We've got all these AA to AAA arms, even after losing 2 of them. But again, even like a guy like Mike Vasil, I don't like to compare. It's kind of rough for me to do, but you can probably state and make a case that, Blade Tidwell, even Dom Hamill, Yoander Suarez, I could see those kind of arms possibly being on a similar and high enough level as a Mike Vasil. So if you have to lose 1, but you still have the other 3 sitting and waiting at the same AAA level, maybe that's some of the mindset and the thinking. Because again, talking with some of the people in the Mets organization, they do know, hey, we have a lot of clutter going on. Probably, obviously, that's a good thing. So some of these things have to be weeded out. Obviously, right now it was in the Rule 5, but I still in my head keep thinking the Mets may have to pull some trades as well. So we may lose some more prospects. So obviously it's going to be interesting to continue to follow along, but I do overall still like the Mets farm system. And I hope this became longer than quick, rapid reaction was hopefully helpful, insightful. Shout out and congrats to Mike Vasil, obviously, and Nate Lavender for getting this initial shot directly to the major leagues. They both deserve it based on their stuff and pedigree. So I do wish them the best. And obviously I wish the younger guys the best of luck at the higher levels in their new organizations, in their dreams of trying to make it. As you know, I'm trying to make it. So please, if you can, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me a shot. I'm hopefully trying to provide as much information as I can for the days and weeks to come. And I am trying to be a guest spot coming up on a really awesome platform. So be on the lookout for that.